Chimezie
Metu.
Mamba.
We were kind of talking about it a second ago. C plus is what I gave him in the grades. Um, and it's a very interesting situation with Chimezie Metu because in a lot of ways, we were talking about at the beginning of the season whether or not he had a place in the league. It did not seem as if he had really shown that he definitively did, and that if you could get a replacement for him, there's no reason to keep this guy. I mean, you could easily find somebody that does what he does with maybe a little bit of a higher ceiling. That was our argument.
Yeah.
Well, to his credit, he's proven that he does have a place in the league, that he has some value doing certain things. And in a lot of ways, he's exceeded personal expectations. But it's hard denying the fact that even if he's exceeding expectations, even if he's kind of worth applauding given what we were expecting out of him prior to the season, you have to take into account. It's impossible to ignore the fact that despite that, everybody can agree that you still need to upgrade behind Sabonis. And I think you combine all that together, you mold it down into one snowball, and then that comes out to be a C plus. And I wouldn't go any higher. I'm not even thinking about going higher than that. I think a C plus you could make the argument that that's maybe a little generous. But if we're talking about C being like flat, like average, absolute average, I give him that plus just because of the factor that we were kind of like, I really don't know what Chimezie Metu is going to bring to this team. And he's done some things for this team. Whether or not we want to see him do that.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I'm okay with that grade. He stepped up. You didn't want him to be your fourth or your third string center. We went into the season thinking it was going to go Sabonis, Holmes, Len. And so him to step up and have that consistent role as number two, as we've seen Holmes flounder and Len just, rightfully not getting any minutes just because he'd get eaten up alive in this Mike Brown scheme. I'm okay. Would you say a C plus? Sorry, C or a C plus?
C plus.
And as much as I give hate to Chimezie, I mean, I will, applaud him for stepping up into that backup center role. I mean, it's not his fault at the same time. Holmes has been terrible, and he's had to play more than we hoped he would. So I'm okay with that grade in that sense.
Yeah. And it's like, don't get it confused. He's never the reason the second unit is playing well. He just kind of is along for the ride.
Yeah.
And he can hurt you. I mean, he hasn't really done that since he's gotten the second center spot back. I think that was against Orlando in mid-January. But since then, he seemed like he lost the starting center or the backup center job rather in Toronto in December, and he was just playing outside himself. So he's still a risk too of doing that. And so I think how he closes out the second half of the season, but whether he closes out the second half of the season as a backup center still kind of remains to be seen.